It was a wet day in Italy, and Italians played the conditions a lot better than the Welsh. Italy win in Rome, Wales another defeat. Hello, amateurs. Welcome back to our Six Nations series, and I've got Huw Jones here with me again to speak about the game. Huw, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Tim. Well, good-ish after yesterday, but there we go.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that game now. Italy versus Wales in Rome, and I sort of mentioned it in the intro there. The weather would play a key part in this game. It was clearly very wet. The ball was very greasy. And Wales also had more adversity as well, losing Daph Jenkins and Liam Williams before the game. What kind of effect would that have on the squad, Huw?
Given the conditions, I think losing Liam Williams is a big loss. Having that experience at the back would have been really, really important yesterday. Daph Jenkins, big ball carrier, really, really good leader. So, and that's Liam as well, both real big misses there, I would say, in terms of just the leadership as well as just what they give you with the ball and without the ball as well.
Yeah, because we talked a lot about Wales being lacking in confidence, and you need the players with a bit more experience and a bit more about them around you to sort of find confidence in a game like this. And I don't think Wales ever really did. And it's, you look at the Welsh 23, apparently 9 of them have never won a test match, which is, it's really hard to find confidence when you're in that kind of shape.
Yeah, it's difficult. And with things going as they did early on as well, where we had chances and we didn't take them, I think that's a huge factor. Like, if you take one of those chances, it's a different game then. And the Josh Adams, he had a couple of chances. We had a line out 5 meters out, and we chose to do some intricate front peel move when our driving line out has been one of our few positives over the last sort of 6 months. So I don't really know what went on.
What was your reaction when you saw that, Huw?
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it, given the conditions as well. It's hammering down with rain. Like I said, a driving line has been a positive for us, and when we go and try that, and I mean that comes to decision making on the field, that one, doesn't it? I mean, the players have got to take one there, and whoever decided to do that. Because, as I said, if you go and we score there, or if we'd scored one of the Josh Adams chances, I think it probably is a different game. They do grow in confidence, and yourself, momentum's huge in rugby, and we could have been much, much better, I think, had one of those chances stuck for us.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And Italy kind of showed that, because the chance they got when Garbisi went through a little bit hole, kicked in behind, and Capuozzo scored, was they just so lethal in how they took that chance. It was really good play. They didn't really have, I can't think of any other chances they had in the first half, actually. They played pretty well and dominated territory, but I wouldn't say they really had any other try-scoring chances.
No, and you could see the confidence grow in them after that try as well. It was as if that settled the nerves for them. I know we talked on Thursday about how do they react to being favourites, and I think that probably settled them down a little bit. Whereas if we score first, it's a little bit different in terms of mindset then. So that was huge for them.
Yeah, it definitely was. And as I just mentioned there, they were dominating the territory battle because their kicking was just better. It was longer. It was more accurate. If they were kicking to compete, they kicked short enough so they could compete. If they were kicking long, the length of their kickers was longer than the Welsh kickers. And as a result of that, spending more time in the Welsh territory, they started clocking up penalties and kicking them over. And again, that's where more pressure comes in with the scoreboard ticking onwards.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. They kicked much better than we did, whether it was from 9 or from 10, or even the kick returns. Like Tommy Allen kicked really well from fullback, didn't he, as well? So I know we talked about that on Thursday. Is he another kicking option? And he was, wasn't he? He was really good for them. So yeah, they're just better than us. There's not much we can say. That they were completely, like I said, dominant really in terms of territory in our first half. We had the odd little foray into their 22, but apart from that, they were just better than us in every facet, really.
Yeah, they were, I think, mostly. But again, Wales did have chances. There were chances at the end of the first half as well when Thomas put a kick through for Adams, and this one looked like this was a better chance than the first one, I think, because the ball actually popped up a little bit.
The first one was a tough one, in fairness. I think he had more time than he realised, but that second one, you would expect the British line to probably score that. So we need to, being where we are, we've got to take those chances.
Yeah,
and we didn't. And
there was another one.
That's where we are at the moment.
Yeah, there's another one just afterwards as well. And this one was just before half time when Wales actually got the ball through the hands and found a bit of space on the left flank. But it was Adams again. I think he got his arms caught while he was trying to offload to Jack Morgan. And it ended up being the forward pass when I'm pretty sure Wales would have gone on to score there as well. And if they had, it would have been 16-8 or 16-10 at half time. And that half-time chat feels so much different then.
Oh, absolutely. We talked about momentum earlier, didn't we? And that momentum then is with Wales going into half-time. And we just didn't get anything that gave us any momentum, really, until it was too late. Like I said, that we didn't have another chance at a driving line until late on. And then once we did, it was like, oh, you know what, we're good at this, we'll do that. Whereas had we done that earlier, it could have been a different game. But it's the same thing. It's a lot of could have, would have, should have, isn't it, for us again?
Yeah, and the second half really sort of carried on much the same as the first did, with Italy just dominating through their better kicking. But they started missing penalties at this stage. So I said, I'm always looking at what might happen in the future when I'm watching games like this. So at 16-3, a 13-point differential and missing 3 penalties in a row, they can't get more than that to score clearance. No. And I start to feel just a little bit nervous for the Italians.
I know, and it's the hope that kills you as a supporter, isn't it? And with that, we were kind of in it. Even though I was watching my daughter and she was like, oh, Dad, we might get back in this now. I said, well, we've only scored 3 points and we're 60-odd minutes in. Why do you think we're going to score another 2 tries in 20 minutes? She was like, oh, well, yeah, I suppose. But then maybe she was right and I wasn't, because we had a good go. But where was that earlier on? It was just, it's just frustrating to watch, because for me, that's the first time I've watched them and thought, again, the effort was there, but I don't know that there was belief in how they were trying to play yesterday. It looked as if, I don't know, lost the dressing room is a phrase and they used in football. And I don't want to say that. Because I do think the players did go out and give it, but I don't know that there was a conviction in what they were supposed to be doing there yesterday.
Yeah, I agree, and it's very hard to criticise the players in that regard, I think, because of course they all desperately want to represent their country and play as well as they can. But if you're struggling to get a foothold in a game following the plan, then it feels really deflating, I think. And I think that's what we saw. I think we saw a Wales team sort of deflating as the game got to the hour mark. And it was only once they got a break, once they got a couple of penalties in territory late and a little bit of success, they just all kind of perked up again.
Yeah, I think you're right. To me, it just seemed that it just wasn't. I don't think they were playing. I don't think they believed in what they were doing, and that became apparent, I think. And again, in attack, we go a couple of phases. I know it's wet, but just to see where players were in attack, it was as if, all right, we don't really know what's going on. And again, watching the game with my daughter, who's does watch rugby but isn't any sort of expert or anything, and she, Dad, they don't look like they know what they're doing. And I mean that's sort of layman's viewpoint of it, and I had to agree with it. It didn't look like we knew what we were doing at stages there. And like I said on Thursday, I expect more. And we did get more yesterday.
Yeah, there was one break. Wales got a break in the first half, a little bit of a sort of a half line break. And it was like, right, okay. And it was in Italian territory as well, sort of coming up to the 22. And the next 2 or 3 phases were the most disorganized attacking rugby I think I've ever seen. Like France played deliberately disorganized, because that's what they do. This was not that. This was just players going, oh, what do we do next? And I agree. That was a moment where I was like, oh, I can't see any way Wales are going to get back into this.
No, I mean, we talk a lot about playing to space or playing to the best space and over structure. And I mean, that it looked as if they were trying to get back into structure. I don't really know. It just, for me, we produce good instinctive rugby players usually in Wales who can play good heads-up rugby, and that didn't seem like it was there yesterday. And whether that's because of what they're being told by coaches or just because they're low on confidence, it's hard to say which one of those it is. But that wasn't there yesterday, and that's really concerning for me because we're good at that usually, and it wasn't there yesterday.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you just said then. In terms of the Italians, I thought I was really impressed, as we've already said, with their kicking. But then their front row tackling is really, really good. All three of those guys in the front row can whack people, and they do it on a regular basis. I thought Lorenzo Canoni in the back row was a menace at the breakdown, which is a bit new. I haven't seen him be that useful at the breakdown before. Normally, I think of him as a carrier number 8, but a couple of great turnovers.
Yeah, they were just on top, weren't they, in everything. And then the confidence grew, I think, as the game went on. And when they were 16-3 up, you could see that confidence in them. And we really struggled. And a lot of that, I think, is to do with us and how we played. But you've got to take your hat off to them and give them credit where it's due. We've talked a lot about us so far, but I haven't really spoken much about the Italians. But they were excellent yesterday. They played the conditions really well. They dominated us physically at times. You think how many times they hit us back over the game line. We spoke Thursday, didn't we, about how much easier the game is when you're going forward. We very rarely went forward with the ball. So then it becomes more difficult. And the more dominant they were becoming physically, the more their confidence was growing. So, yeah, they were excellent. I take my hat off to them. They were much better than us yesterday.
Yeah, I thought for Wales, there were a couple of players that stood up. I thought Faletau, without being, the dominant sort of carrying force, he was always there. He was always contributing. I thought he showed up well. And I thought Blair Murray actually did really well at fullback. He caught the ball well and ran it back a fair few times. So there were some players, I think, that showed good qualities.
Yeah, I thought Faletau was unbelievable. That's his first game in how long? And he goes the full 80. Just incredible. And then, Blair Murray went well. But then after that, I was struggling. We talked about Eddie James, didn't we? I think he carried twice up to about 70 minutes. And the game we were playing, we needed him in the game to be carrying for us. You can't just have the forwards to do it all the time. And we didn't get him into the game at all. So, it was a really frustrating day. And a really frustrating
the wild thing was, though, it could have ended up a draw because Wales won a scrum penalty, kick to the corner, and then there was a real moment of levity, which I enjoyed, as the ball bobbled out the back of the ruck and they went to the TMO. And the referee said, we're just going to check whether that bobble went forward. And so the TMO went, yep, okay, TMO, checking the bobble, which just sounded like a very funny turn to me.
Well, I didn't find it as funny because I didn't find much funny about yesterday's performance. But it is some of the things you hear sometimes on the field there.
Yeah, but that was what led to the Freddie Thomas disallowed try for a double movement.
Yeah,
it was pretty clear and obvious, that one. It was only sort of brief, but it's absolutely correct. But then the line-out drive was straight afterwards, and Wales got over almost without issue. It seemed so easy for them.
Yeah, but even there, the clock's ticking away, and we've got penalties. We've had a couple of successful driving line-outs, and we're trying to play. And the clock's ticking. Just have the penalty. Get it into and we go again. Again, things you'd expect international players to be able to think on their feet for themselves and say, look, we're on low on time. Let's just have the penalty. Let's go up the corner and we go again. Whereas we were just taking another minute off the clock. And then it happened again and we take another minute off the clock. Then we kick the touch. So it's little things, isn't it? But we need to be better at those things.
Yeah, but they did get the penalty. They did get into the corner. And somebody had been yellow. Richie only got yellow card in the 78th minute. And then it was a penalty try in the 79th minute and another yellow card. So now you've got a play or a minute to get the full length of the pitch against 13 players to somehow salvage a draw. And it felt, now I was very nervous for the Italians, excited for the Welsh, but also just... Yeah. The Italians have put so much into that game, and it would have been a bit of a travesty for them if they hadn't won it, to be honest.
Yeah, as I said earlier, so hope the gets you, and then we had a little bit of hope, and it was like, oh, okay, can we do this? Because we have pulled results like that out of the bag in the past. But for me, that then was a really good illustration of how we played yesterday, because we went through, I don't know, 10, maybe more phases. We didn't go forward. We didn't go forward, and then we got turned over, and that epitomised our attack for me again yesterday. I know conditions are difficult, but you must go through scenarios like that. Right, we need a score. It's last play. What are we going to do? And yeah, it didn't look good, did it? It didn't look dangerous. They were completely comfortable, even with 13 men. And I think I'd have to watch it back, but I think they had at least 2 in the backfield for the kick, maybe 3, and we still couldn't break that front line down at all. And then that goes to show how on top they were defensively, really, and how comfortable they were.
Yeah. The quality and the accuracy of the Welsh handling was not up to scratch yesterday, and I think we've alluded to it already. That's a lot to do with confidence, I think, and the conditions. A combination of the two, I would say. All right, what do you think? What do you think in terms of going forward for Wales here? Do they tear everything up and try a new approach now this game is gone, and look much almost to next season almost in terms of what they're doing now, or do they try and keep going, stick together, and try and eke out another result somehow in this tournament?
It's easy to say what we're getting wrong, isn't it? It's really hard to show what to do next. But like I said, I think for me yesterday, they looked like a team low on confidence and weren't entirely convinced by what they were supposed to be doing. So I don't think we can continue playing like that. Whether that be a fresh voice coming in, or fresh players coming in, I don't know. For me, I don't know who comes in if Gatland goes. There's nobody out there you think, oh, we could get him and that would be brilliant. So is that the answer? I don't know. But then I don't think that how we're playing now is good enough either. And how you look at selection yesterday, we talked about the weather on Thursday. So they must have had an inkling that it was going to be raining. I know Jonathan Davis talked after the game on the Welsh commentary about, well, I knew it was going to be raining when I was packing my suitcase because I knew what clothes to bring. So surely they should have known it was going to be wet as well. So to have then a 12 playing a 10, whereas if you select Ben Thomas at 12, you have got another kicking option. So I don't know that it can continue as it is. For me, they just looked like a set of players that didn't believe in what they were supposed to be doing on Saturday and didn't possibly agree with how they were having to play. So I think there's probably got to be a change. Welsh rugby's boom or bust either, where everyone is on top of the world and we're the best team ever, or even, and don't get me wrong, we are in our worst run of results, I think, possibly ever in the Six Nations. But, we'll lose a game by a point and everyone wants to get rid of all the coaches in Wales and stuff anyway. But I think that's a legitimate point now. Do we have to look at change? And I think we probably do need to change now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I feel for you, mate, and I feel for all my Welsh rugby friends over there. It's not a nice place to be. People at home, what do you think? Let us know. Comments down below. How did you see this game? Is it the same as how we saw it? What do you think the answers are for Welsh rugby? Let's have all of that in the comments down below. Keep it friendly. That's what we like in our comments section. Okay, no slagging people off directly, but let's just talk about it as adults. And we'll have a good old chat down there. Give this video a thumbs up while you're down there. If you don't mind, helps other people find it. Huw, thanks so much today, mate. Good luck. I hope it turns around for Wales. I really do.
Thanks, mate. I hope so too.
Yeah. And people at home, you can subscribe there. You can watch that one next. And don't forget to get out and play.